What's good, YouTube? It's your girl Nick back at you guys with episode 2 of season 2, Cherish the Day. So I'm going to be recording on like the little commercial breaks, I guess. We're in the kitchen. I'm watching the show and cooking. It's going to be Taco Friday today, turkey tacos specifically. So episode number 2 opens up with Ellis. His name is Ellis Moran. And Sunday's name is Sunday St. James. But episode 2 opens up with him pulling up with the girls to Anastasia's home. It's her weekend with the girls, and he's dropping them off. The girls head in. The oldest daughter is like, "What are you doing later, Dad? Can we catch a game together?" And he has to tell her, like, "No, this is your mom's weekend. We're not going to interrupt her weekend with me. You trying to hang out with me to watch a game or do anything or whatever." As we can see, the oldest child is indifferent to her mother during this time where the family is splitting up. We see the girls go inside. Anastasia comes over to the car. She said, "Ooh, you got cologne on? What you got planned for today?" He like, "I'm just going to work or whatever. I don't have anything else planned. Just been working." And she says, well, he lets her know she's having some issues with her car. So he set it up an appointment with a mechanic, and he tells her the day she needs to drop it off. She informs him that that day is a studio day for her. So he was like, "Well, you got to rearrange your plans so you can drop the car off." Because she's talking about going a different day. And then that's when she says, "Well, can you just drop me off to the studio and take the car in for me?" And he's like, "No." And he was like, "I gotta work." She was like, "But that's the point of being your own boss. You get to do what you want to do when you want to do it." Duh. And he's just looking at her like, ugh. And she walks off, walks and heads back to the house with the girls. But I noticed in her walking, she's walking with like a limp. Is that something for this character, or is it something wrong with Terry Vaughn? Somebody let me know. So then we get to Judge's house where Sunday is staying. So she made some homemade biscuits, buttermilk biscuits, and she's serving her dad biscuits for breakfast. He asked for some sugar and stuff, and no, some syrup and butter for his biscuit. Lynette walks in. She got her kids going. She was like, I'm enjoying almost being an empty nester. Her kids are almost out of the house. Still no explanation as to who she is. Is she his caretaker? Is she a cousin, a sister, a friend? Like, what is she to Sunday? I'm not sure. Y'all let me know. She starts speaking a little bit of Spanish, it sounds like, too. Then we hear the door. And Sunday answers the door. It's Ellis at the door looking good. They smile at each other. He says he's there to finish, putting the towel back up from when he had to open the wall up in the bathroom. So they go in the kitchen. He speaks to her dad and says that, he's back over there to do the work to finish the bathroom. And he was like, "I don't care about that bathroom. I got 3 bathrooms in his house. I could care less if you fix that bathroom or not. I don't have to go in there ever again." And Alice was like, "Wait, but that bathroom was Miss Vondy's pride and joy. She took great pride in that bathroom. And she took pride in her home. I don't think she would want you to leave the bathroom looking the way it looks." And he's like, "You right. Go ahead and do what you need to do to take care of the bathroom." And I said, wow, like, so he don't listen to the daughter. He halfway listen to the caretaker. But he gonna listen to Ellis. Like, Ellis is the one who can get him to move and do as what needs to be done, or whatever it seems as though. Before Ellis arrived and before Lynette arrived, they were talking. Mr. St. James and Sunday were talking, and he was telling her, "You think you slick? You trying to butter me up because you think you gonna get your grandmama's buttermilk, your grandmother's recipe book while you here." And she was like, "Yep." And he was like, "No, I don't think so." So we see Ellis go off to the bathroom and start to work, and Sunday comes by, speaks to him once again, and was like, she about to head out to go see her grandmother. He was like, "Oh, you want to see Miss Momo?" She like, yeah, he said, she gonna make a coconut cake, ain't she? She was like, when she know I'm coming, she always make one, don't she? And so, she was like, you're my father's favorite person right now, so he won't mind if you come here every day. And honestly, I don't mind the company either, or whatever. So he volunteers to go change and go ride with her to her grandmother's house. Okay, guys, so we pick back up with Sunday and Ellis are riding in the car on the way to grandma's house. They stop at some small spot. He orders some breakfast, asks her if she want anything. She says no. They're riding. She starts to play with the radio. Says that she had secretly dreamed of being a DJ at some point in her life and that never manifested. So she's trying to find music that he would like. She was like, "Oh, I got a song for you." So the song is "All My Life I Pray for Someone Like You." Casey and JoJo's song, "All My Life." And she's like, "You remember this song?" He was like, "No, I don't recall this." She was like, "Really? You don't remember this song? How can you not remember our song?" And he starts to laugh. He's like, "Girl, playing. Of course I remember our song." So they start to sing it together. And you can hear that he can hold a little note. So eventually he looks at her and he asks, they riding along some more. He gets a call. It's his daughter. Oh no. They ride along. He asks, at what time is Momo expecting them? Because he wants to show her something right quick. She was like, "Oh, we got time." So he pulls up to this house in the middle of nowhere. It's just surrounded by grass. They walk in. He tells her this is his dream home. It's a passion project that he works on when he has time. He's actually gotten his contractor license, so he can build a house from the ground up if he chooses. He's not just a plumber. She like, "Oh, okay." So he was telling her some things he had in mind and how he wanted to fix the place up. She said, "This is going to be a beautiful house. You gonna move in here with the girls?" He was like, "Oh, no, no, no. This house actually belongs to the ex-wife. I think he said ex-wife or a widow of somebody he know. Um, she fell on hard times and she couldn't afford the house anymore, really. So he paid the taxes on it and agreed to pay for the materials to fix it up so that they can sell it, and they'll split the money down the middle once he finished fixing it up and sells it." She was just like, "Oh wow, I've been looking to expand and buy another property um and open up another restaurant." And he was like, "Oh, okay." She was like, "Yeah, I looked in New York, I looked at Cali and everything, but I would buy this place. If I could buy this, I would buy it and I would actually make it a supper club where you can have dinner and hear music, hear a band play. I would paint all the doors turquoise." She just like telling him, he was like, "Listen to you." She was like, "Yeah, listen to me in your dream house." And he was like, "Yeah, telling me all your dreams in my dream house." And she was like, "But for real, I know some people that can help or whatever, to get this place up and like they need work and stuff like that too. So that, because he was saying that he needed to sell the house and make a profit so he can put the money away to put his daughters through college or whatever." And she was like, "Well, I know some people that know some people. We can do some stuff. I can send some business your way, basically." And he was like, "Stop it. Stop doing it. You're doing that again, what you always do. You're always trying to fix something for somebody. It's the same way you did when we were in high school. It was some kind of dance, and she went out and got him a nice jacket and some shoes." She was like, "Yeah, because you was gonna wear those sneakers, those hooping sneakers to the, and I wanted you to look your best." And he was like, "Yeah," and she said, "And you wore it with no problem." He was like, "Yeah, because those shoes was fire. I wasn't gonna turn it down. The outfit was fire." But, like, you can't fix everything. I can handle this. I'm a man. I know what I'm doing. I got this. I can take care of myself and my girls and everything. So she like, all right. So they get back in the car. And they have, she gets a phone call from the person at her restaurant. They had some kind of big event coming up. And they weren't able to get their liquor delivered. And they didn't have enough white wine and some other champagne and white wine or something to handle this event that they had coming up. She was like, all right, I'll take care of it. So she's calling around to different people that she know that can spare, a couple bottles of wine here and there. She's calling a whole lot of favors to get it taken care of and calls the person back, lets them know that, a truck going to be coming with the wine and all that stuff that they need. So then they riding in the car and they just talking and reminiscing and everything. And then that's when his phone rings. He answers. It's his daughter. So we find out that the oldest daughter, her name's Evelyn, she hasn't been dealing with the separation and the dissolution of her parents' marriage well. She doesn't want to be bothered with the mom, especially because he lets us know that Evelyn's 15 at this point. The mom left them for the guy and left the girls with him to take care of. So it's like she don't really want to be around the mom. So she called him and was like, "Are you finished your work? Because mom said it's fine if it's fine if you come over and watch the game with me." And she was on speaker, but he takes off speakerphone, puts the phone to his ear, listen to her. And he tells her, "No, I'm not finished. Some other stuff came up. So I gotta make sure I get this job done, so I can't leave and come and watch the game with you tonight. I gotta finish up this job." And she hangs up. And of course Sunday was like, "Why'd you lie? Why'd you lie to her? You can't have friends, like y'all getting divorced. She moved on, you can't have friends." He's like, "Yeah, I can have friends, but I just I just wanna I don't think I'm gonna be back in time to watch the game. From with you and your grandmother." So I just told her a little white lie. Basically, it's fine. Trust me. She was like, "It's not fine." And he was like, "Listen, you don't have kids. You wouldn't know." And I'm like, "Well, damn." But she got him right back with, "I don't have to have kids to know that to someone who's 15 and to someone who's 40 and who's been on the other side of that conversation, trusting you. I know what it's like to be lied to, and nobody likes to be lied to, whether they 15 or 40." And he was like, "This is not that. Don't even try to compare what happened between me and you 25 years ago to what's going on today with my daughter, because this is just, it's not that." And she like, okay. And we get a commercial break. Alright guys, so back from the commercial break. I forgot to mention that Ellis let, when they were still at the house, what day he was showing her, he let Sunday know the reason he started getting into contracting like that, because he fell on real bad hard times when he came back from overseas. And he started, working with his grandfather, and he figured out something that he could do, with his hands, because he likes working with his hands. And he wanted to help rebuild his city, because he was there when Hurricane Katrina happened. And he figured he can do his part to help rebuild the city. And he's doing what he loves. So then we get them arriving to Momo's. Momo is outside riding the lawnmower, cutting the grass. They greet her. She gets off the lawnmower. They greet her. She, Sunday introduces Ellis, and Momo looked at him and was like, "Oh, I remember this skinny boy from back in the day." They go in the house. She said, the food that she was making him is almost ready. But once they get inside, we notice that Momo has Sunday helping her prepare the food. They're making gumbo. And during this, Sunday is once again petitioning Momo to give up her recipe book, talking about how she's been adding some of the recipes to the menu at a restaurant, and that people are willing to pay top dollar, to eat this food because people just want to eat good food, period. So she sees Momo tells her to, cut something. And she turns her back to get the cutting, and that's when Momo grabs something, and she sees Momo grabbing it. And it was like, what's the secret ingredient? Because no matter how many times I try, I'm going to have to keep calling you to get the recipe, or because mine does not come out quite like yours. And so Momo was like, well, I add a little bit of pepper grass. So go outside, I need some pepper grass. And take him with you to go pull up some pepper grass. So they go outside to her garden. I've never heard of pepper grass, and they said it's the poor man's greens or something to that effect. But basically, it's like greens, like any other greens, but it's got a peppery, spicier flavor to it. She tastes a piece, offers a piece. Sunday tasted, offers a piece to Ellis and taunts him, saying, go ahead, come on, try it. Unless you scared, cause you don't like spicy, you can't handle it. And he's like, oh, I can handle it. He puts it in his mouth, and you could tell it was too hot for him or whatever. But he tries it out or whatever, and they kind of like having a conversation right there in the grass. And she lets him know, like, I just never want to be responsible for taking you away from your kids. And he lets her know, like, listen, you're not taking me away from them. This is their mom's weekend, and Evelyn is where she's supposed to be. And Sunday's like, oh, okay, and you? He said, I'm where I want to be. I said, oh, okay. And then that's when we get another commercial break. Hey guys, so we pick back up with them sitting at a picnic table full of friends and family at Momo's house, eating, fellowshipping with one another. There's some guys that are there that remember Alice from high school and stuff, and remembers the relationship between Alice and Sunday. And apparently it's something in Ellis's past where he went off on a white guy who might have said some racist remarks or something to him. One of the guys brought up. And this guy, he got a beard and his hair's brushed down. I mean, he's my type in the looks. But I remember him playing in something or being in something else that I've seen, but I can't place his face. The other guy is the same guy from Queen and Slim that turned Queen and Slimming, and he was also on this past season of P Valley. He was one of the people that was in the crew with Maine, Chief with Maine and them. Alice changes the subject, and they start to talk about some other stuff, and the grandmother, she talks. Next thing you know, Alice and Grandma, they all stand at the door. Everybody, no. Sunday is inside the house with an aunt of hers, looking through her old photo album. Apparently, Sunday's mother was the one who would take the pictures and, keep the family albums and stuff like that updated so people can remember this person and that person in the family. And when she couldn't find a picture of them, she would take a picture of their grave so that they would be remembered in the photo album of the family or whatever, in the family history. And the aunt was, basically saying, she misses her sister. So, we see Sunday, Alice, and Momo standing outside, and I forget the other young lady's name. I'm guessing she was like a cousin to Sunday or something to that effect. They all talking. The guys are like they going somewhere from there, and they ask Sunday and Alice if they want to roll with them to this place, and they was like, sure, we're gonna follow behind y'all. I'm gonna drive behind you. So they get ready to say their goodbyes to Momo. Ellis hugs her, and she says there's a cooler full of something, for your dad and for Lynette. And Ellis is like, what about me? She was like, it's something in there for you too, and you don't be a stranger. You can come around here anytime you like and come and visit me. And he's like, all right. And he goes to the car. Momo tells the other young lady, I'm guessing she a cousin, to go get this paper sack. She said, go get that paper sack for me. And she has a talk with Sunday. And this kind of like got me a little bit emotional because this grandmother-granddaughter relationship, I feel like I had decent relationships with my grandmothers. I loved and worshiped my maternal grandmother walked on. And as I get older, I'm starting to take on a lot of the same things. Like I'm shaped like her. Everybody says I look just like her. And some of the ailments that she had, I'm starting to have, like with asthma and all that kind of stuff. But because my grandmothers are no longer here, this moment really my eyes are welling up right now talking about it. Because I miss my grandmothers. I really do. My father's mother, like, being her had our ups and downs, but I still loved my grandmother. And honestly, that last year, I think she knew it was her last year, so I'm kind of glad that I spent time with her and stuff. Like, that was the year of COVID. I was getting stir crazy being in his house, having anxiety and being in a house with people who kept going out and going places, and I wasn't because I was scared of COVID. So I went to stay with my aunt who she lived with and spend time with her. While I was there, we talked, we did a whole lot of stuff. I stayed out there for like 3 weeks at a time, came home, went back for another 2 weeks, and then came home and didn't go back. And I told her I was coming back, but I never went back to stay for, weeks at a time. And she would FaceTime me like, I thought you said you was coming back. You ain't come back. And I was like, I know, Mom, but my whole reason for not going back is because I come back home to, take care of some personal stuff, go to some doctor's appointments and things. And I was nervous, y'all. My grandmother, she was elderly. She was going on 80 years old. Well, she was 80. Because we had like a big birthday party for her. Well, not big. It was small and intimate. 80th birthday party for her. And she used to say little stuff to me like, because you never know when I'm going to go, if I'm going to not be here. And in my eyes, I'm thinking, lady, you got another 20 years. I thought, well, she was 80. I thought she had at least another 15 years at the max. But she had, like, my grandmother, she had smoked for a long time. So she developed COPD, so she had an oxygen tank. And then she had sickle cell trait, so she would have sickness with that and stuff. And she was a real small lady, and she had to start to develop some kind of respiratory something. Well, that is the COPD, because she used to take different medications that would have her gain weight, and then when she get off the medication, she lose the weight. But anyway, eventually, I remember her making a big deal about crocheting, and she knew how to crochet too, but she had forgot some of the stuff. And I remember trying to teach her via FaceTime chats how to do a granny square, because I had a cousin that was pregnant at the time, and she really, really, well, my cousin's wife was pregnant with their third child, and she really she had her heart set on crocheting something for that baby. And she kept saying, I call them, they don't call me back. And so she was like a little bit upset about the fact that they wasn't returning her calls and stuff. And I kind of like got in my feelings. It was like, well, why are you worried about making them a blanket? And it's because she had a feeling and she knew something that I did not know. Not too long after me trying to teach her over the phone, we found out my grandmother, she kept saying she was having pains in her side and stuff. They did these tests and we found she got cancer. And within 4 months. Let me see, December, January, February, March, April. So now for about 5 months or so, my grandmother was gone. So that's why this whole scene touched me so. You know, I miss my grandmothers, all of them. I had both my maternal and paternal grandmothers. I had a paternal great-grandmother that I got to meet. I got to meet her mother. So I had a great-great-grandmother that I got to see twice in my life. And I also had my maternal great-grandmother as well. I had my paternal grandfather in my life. My maternal grandfather, I never got to meet him. He was alive, but he lived somewhere else. And my mom only saw her dad maybe once in her life. When she was a teenager, she went to visit with him for a while. And then when she saw him again, he was deceased and she was going to go to the funeral. So, and I never got to meet him. And then my paternal grandmother, she had a boyfriend that was around all the time when I was really little. So I considered him to be like our grandfather. My cousins and I, we all considered him to be our grandfather. But this scene touched me so, and the grandmother told her, you know, so what's going on with you and Ellis, you know? Is he going to be my new grandson-in-law? And she's like, Grandma, we just reconnected a few days ago. You know, I don't know what it is. And the grandmother tells her, you know, I know you're not one to let grass grow around you, or trees, basically let grass grow under your feet. Like, you don't stay with anybody or stay anywhere too long. So, but slow down enough. Like, slow down and try it out. See what it's going to be. Figure it out. And if it's not for you, then it's just not for you. Which was really good advice, because a lot of times, most times, you see the elderly people telling and advising young women to get with a man. Man, in fact, that was the last thing my grandmother mouthed to me. My paternal grandmother, my Bessie. She was in a what is it called? A nursing facility. And she told my cousin's wife, she said something about you need to go out and, you know, meet somebody, go on a date. Like, you haven't been out since you and your ex-husband split up. And that's been a long time, y'all. That's been almost 20 years ago that we was married. And we split up in maybe we split up for good about 2008. And got a divorce, and that was finalized in like 2010. So, my cousin's wife, like, you need to meet you somebody. And my grandmother, she couldn't really talk, like, get it all out. So it was like, it would come out in a whisper. And she shook her head. She was like, yes, she needs somebody to take care of her, to look after her, to love her. And I was just like, Granny, really? And she started laughing. She started smiling at me. I ain't really trying to go there and get emotional on y'all, but that relationship is nothing like it. And y'all, you couldn't pay me to know that I was going to be missing my grandmothers this much since they've been gone. I really miss them. But, her grandmother, you know, basically told her, like, you just try it out and see if you like it. And if it's not for you, if it's not what you want, you know, you go on with the rest of your life and doing whatever makes you happy and pleases you. She said, because I'm not going to lie to you, I get lonely in this big house by myself. And I forgot to mention that when Sunday was in the talking to Ellis, she had mentioned to Ellis that they found out that the grandmother had a boyfriend for about 3 years at one point. And when he proposed to her, she broke up with him because she said she didn't want to be stuck caring for and taking care of you know, this old man or whatever. So that's why she broke up with him. She didn't want to be tied down. But she's advising Sunday, you know, to give love a try, give it a chance. And if it's not for her, then it's just not. Don't force herself. And then who I assume to be a cousin, she comes back with the brown sack. And you can tell it's some kind of little box or something in here. It's tied up. And Momo gives it to Sunday and say, here, it's my recipes. It's time you have them because I'm not going to be here for much longer. You know, we all got to go at some time, and I want you to have them. Just like that just made me, And she told Sunday, don't be a stranger. You know, come and see her more often than she has been. Because we don't know how often Sunday was going home to visit her family, see her father in the last 25 years. We just know that she hasn't seen Ellis in 25 years since they was in high school. She hugs her grandma and she hops in the truck, and she all excited. He on FaceTime with somebody. And she was like, Grandma, she gave me her recipes. And he stops talking and he looks at her. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then you hear the voice. It's his daughter, Evelyn. Is her name Evelyn or Everly? The daughter's like, oh, who's that you in the car with, Dad? You got a girlfriend? And he's like, no, I don't have a girlfriend. But let me call you back. And he hangs up with the daughter. And him and Sunday have a few words because she's like, she finally gave me her recipe box. I can't believe she gave me her recipes. And then we go to another commercial. Tacos are done. It's time to eat. So, come back from commercial break there in the car. Sunday has asked Ellis to drive her to the house of her great-great-grandfather who was actually white and owned some of her other grandparents. They pull up to this house with a big old white Confederate flag in the front. And of course, he's alarmed and he's like not too sure about doing this, but she talks him into it. There's a graveyard right there on the side of the house. So they go, she gets the picture. He's rushing her because you hear people fiddling around in the house because they know that somebody's outside. You hear dogs barking. He like, come on, let's go, get out of here. They get in the car and they head to Randy's, the bar that the guys, which were actually her cousins, told her about or reminded her of, because I'm sure this is a place that they used to go to normally. So they head to the bar. They get there. They ask her, do she want something to drink? So she orders herself a drink. Asks Ellis, does he want something? He like, no, I do want to get your cousin home safe. So, you know, that's how we figure out that they are her cousins. So she orders her drinks. They go to the dance floor and they dance. It's a nice little scene, cinematography and the colors and everything of them two dancing together on the dance floor. Then it picks up with them driving and, you know, them both saying how good of a time they had again. And he was like, thanks for kidnapping me. No, she said, thanks for, yeah, I think he said, thanks for kidnapping me. And she was like, it's not necessarily kidnapping if I ask you to go somewhere and you gladly hop up and go. That's not kidnapping. And next thing you know, she looks at him and she gives him a kiss. And he kisses her back. But the camera pans down and we see her caressing his growing area. And at that moment, he was like, oh, no, you know, he pushes her away. He rejects her. She feels away. She said, oh, maybe, you know what? No, maybe I was moving too fast. I'm sorry. You know, he was like, you know, there's no need to apologize. Like I told you, you know, it's cool. I got a lot on my plate right now and I'm trying to work on. So, you know, he didn't want to go too far too fast. But she was just like, you know what? You're right. You told me you wasn't dating anybody and seeing anybody. And I should have respected that and not, you know, kissed you and stuff. And he was like, no, you cool. And she turns to go inside the house, obviously a little perturbed and dejected because he rejected her. And he touches her and says, you know, I did have a good time. Um, but can we be friends? And first she says, yeah, we could be friends. Then she turns around, she says, you know what? No, I got enough friends. I don't want to be friends. I'm good. And he's just looking dejected. And he's like, and she goes on in the house. And the episode is finished. She's feeling rejected because she made a pass. And for a second, it was going well. But when she went a little bit too far for him, he stopped it. And that right there, y'all, is probably why I've gone all this time and not been on not nary a date or anything since I split up with my ex-husband. Because I'm afraid of rejection. I'm just being real with y'all. So I don't approach men. Not in a way to let them know I'm interested. I don't. If you catch my eye and I catch yours, and we laugh and we joke, or sometimes I just be cool with people or whatever, and we might flirt back and forth just a little bit, whatever, but I'm never going to make the first move. It's like, it got to be him to say that I'm interested in you. That's how I work. I think I was in 9th grade. I was crushing on this guy I was cool with in school. His cousin went to a nearby school, came up to our school after school every day. And after some months, I was like, I'm going to tell him I like him. And I remember, full of nerves, I was like, I like you, and I want you to be my boyfriend. You want to be my boyfriend? Or something I said to him. And he just stood there, chewing his chewing gum the way he always did. And he didn't give me an answer. And then my bus pulled up. So I went to get on my bus, and he went across to go get on their bus. And he never mentioned it or said anything else about it. And ever since I put myself out there that one time, I was like, nope, no more. I don't like that feeling. So I just never did. Every time I got in a relationship, it was because the guy said something to me. And I'm not saying that every guy that makes a pass or expresses interest, I give him a chance, because I definitely do not. But if it's somebody I'm willing to give a chance, I'll go on and give them a chance once they express interest in me. But me, and it's been many times I've been secretly crushing on somebody, and we might become cool or something like that, and I just never tell them. And then I've also had where people tell me after the fact, like years later, like, you know, I was liking you, but I didn't think that you was going to give me a chance, so I never said anything. And I just be like, and I mean, they would be so cute. And I mean, it's not all about looks, it's about how a person makes you feel, how they treat you and stuff like that, you know, and common interests and goals and stuff like that. But I just, that's one thing that always, like, got me, like, dang, like, you like me all the time and you ain't say nothing. Like, say something. All I can say is yes or no. I'm saying that to them. Meanwhile, I'm not going up to nobody and saying anything, you know. But yeah, this was another good episode. This episode was called Sunshine, I believe. The first episode was called Raindrops Falling. But I really like this. If y'all like these reviews, let me know in the comment section. Let me know how y'all feel about the show if you're watching it. Tell me about some of your favorite love stories and things that have been going on in your life, and how you relate to these characters in any way, if you do, you know. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Thank you for watching and clicking this video. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe button if you have never subscribed to my channel, and I'll see y'all in the next review. Peace.